Right. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum present. Meeting has been duly called. Appropriate notice has been given. I'd like everybody to stand while Lisa House leads us in the pledge tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lisa. Motion to approve the agenda and the minutes.
I make a motion we approve tonight's agenda and the minutes of the May 15th and the May 29th meetings.
He beat me, I'll second it.
Okay, we have motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes. At this point, we're going to turn the meeting over to our superintendent for election of board officers.
All right, so this evening, according to policy 1.2, the board elects a president, vice president, secretary, and legislative liaison at the first meeting following the ladder of certification of results or runoff, or the first meeting following the certification of results after a runoff. Officers' one-year term until the board's reorganization following the district's next annual school election. So we will start. Are there any nominations for the office of president?
I nominate Jason.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay, there is a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Mr. President?
Yeah, back to me. We have a nomination for vice president.
I nominate Scott Booth.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Congratulations. Condolences,
Congratulations.
whichever you want to look at it.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be one heartbeat away?
Second place.
Do we have a nomination for secretary?
I'd like to nominate Molly.
I'll second.
Oh,
Yeah.
lots of seconds.
They know I can write.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous.
We could go ahead and do legislative liaison as well.
Okay.
That is not on the agenda, however, it is in policy.
Okay. We'll need a nomination for legislative liaison. Typically, that position is held by board president.
Okay. We
if-
can do that. Last year, we did have Molly.
What
but
was
is
that? Yeah. It's
everybody-
not a hard job, you just forward stuff on.
But if everybody's okay,
Well,
we can.
And if Molly would like to carry that on?
Like, can we, yeah.
I don't
Can we do
care,
that?
but someone else might like the valuable position. It might be.
It might be time, yeah.
Definitely, there will be a lot more.
Well, that's true. It's been busy.
It needs to be somebody who wants to do the
Yes,
position.
sir.
Can we talk about it? Does anybody want it? I mean, is it fair to talk about? Like, would you like to do it again, Miss Morgan, or Miss Marcia? Would you like that position? Yeah.
They
Yeah.
literally send you stuff. You say, Allison, would you send this on to the rest of the board because we can't? And then everybody reads and is up on what's going on.
Legally.
In the legislature.
Since you've had it in your secretary, I'd like to nominate Miss Marcia Partney for the legislative liaison.
I'll second.
I can hit forwards.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Thanks, Molly.
So we do have some committees we need to talk through. Mr. Smetsky, would you mind sharing who is on those committees currently?
Currently, Mr. Booth is on PPC, Ms. Horton's on CPPC, I am on technology, Ms. Morgan is on curriculum. With the election of officers, board president usually sits on finance committee, so that would remove me from tech. Do we have anybody willing to serve on the technology committee?
I think I'd be willing to serve on tech.
Okay.
If that's what you would like me to be at.
Thank
Okay.
you, Mr. Booth.
So that one's done. So that opens up PPC.
I could take that on.
Okay. So Molly will put PPC.
Okay, for all of us newbies, can
Yes,
you
sir.
use something other than an acronym?
Yes, sir.
Personnel Policy Committee.
Thank you, sir.
And then technology is
Yeah, I knew that one.
technology. And then you can go ahead with the
Okay.
others.
So the next one, the next domino is the curriculum committee. Marcia, would you serve?
I'd be happy to serve on
Okay.
that committee. Been there before.
Okay, so then
CPPC.
we've got CPPC,
PTO.
PTO,
And
TAC.
TAC. So TAC is Teacher Advisory Council. We
I
meet
would like
once
to
a
stay
month.
on CPPC.
You would like to stay on CP? Okay, thanks, that's easy.
So we
Mr.
have-
Butler,
So now we
how do you
have
feel about
CPC.
TAC, Mr.
TAC,
Butler?
so it's once a month. I think we've been meeting on Wednesday, 3:30 once a month. If there's a lack of agenda, which often happens at the end of the year, it does not happen at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Teachers come and they share the concerns. There is a person from each building, a teacher from each building, and it may be as simple as we've asked for the light in the parking lot multiple times and we're not getting that turned on.
Okay.
Can you help? You know, because it's
Okay.
gotten to that point. And sometimes it's bigger things.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be willing to do it.
So TAC. Thank you.
Anything else?
Tommy? Would you serve on the PTO committee?
Is that the parent-teacher organization?
That is the parent-teacher organization.
You want to switch?
I'm staying where I'm at.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
And that's a great group to be a
Yeah.
part of.
It
They
really
work
is.
hard and do a lot for the district.
Got that little bit of housekeeping out of the way, so now we can move on to our presentation. Ms. Heiser, are you here to? Thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. My name is Corinne Heiser. I'm a registered nurse since 1980, a family nurse practitioner since 1999, and suicide has not touched my life or my family's. My first real exposure, pardon me if I choke up, was recently when one of our youth took her life less than a month before graduation, and then one of the disciple group girls in my disciple group attempted suicide. So I have never had any up close and personal interaction with this. So as a result of that, I was devastated, am devastated, and want to do something about this. So I've been in literature, I have networked. I found out that Baxter County is one of the highest in teen suicides. Getting an actual number and ranking has been difficult because there doesn't seem to be one that I could get my hands on or the health department could. According to the CDC, suicide is the second leading cause of death from ages 10 to 34 in Arkansas. In 2022, it was ranked 18th in the U.S. Arkansas's age-adjusted suicide death rate increased by 28.6% over the last 20 years. So as school board members, you folks know, and teachers, y'all know what kids are faced with now. When I was growing up, it was difficult. That was a long time ago at Timbo. Things are different now, and so the challenges that kids have, it's daunting. In 2022, Baxter Health did a community needs assessment. Apparently they do that every 3 years, and I did not know that. And they found that the suicide death rate for Baxter Health's community of 29.8 for every 100,000 total population, higher than that Arkansas and the United States with rates of 18.8 and 13.8. So the death rate here, the suicide death rate here is obviously documented well. I have networked with Mr. Matt Sutton from Mountain Home Public School. I have networked with Stacy Ferretti, registered nurse from Baxter Health Unit. I've networked with Brad Hayes, our Baxter County coroner. I've networked with Dan Hall, who has started the U.S. Veterans Coordination effort for suicide and death rate prevention and decreasing. I've networked with board members Scott Booth. I've networked with Summer Sasser, who is going to speak in just a moment regarding her passion for this as well. We have found that it's daunting. The numbers are daunting. The issues are daunting. And the resources, we have resources in the community, and we're identifying them and trying to come together to help. We know that the Baxter County Health Unit has community resources nurses that can come and speak and do presentations for the school. I didn't know that. The Mountain Home Public School has a Bridges program, which I'm sure you're familiar with, that provides funding, that's monies that are collected from people in the community who donate. which is awesome, and we need to make sure that we can keep those coffers full. And as a community, our school needs our help. As a community, our teachers need our help. As counselors, they need our help. Students need our help more than anything else. And one of my favorite stories is a little girl at the beach, walking along the beach, and she's throwing starfish back in the ocean. And somebody came up to her and said, "Why are you doing that? You can't save them all." And she said, "Maybe I can save one."
Mhm.
So I want the Mountain Home Public School Board to know that the community is here. We're rallying the troops, and it's not going to be an easy process. But I never want to stand in front of a casket of an 18-year-old ever again, ever.
Amen.
If I can do anything in my power to not do that, I will. And with that said, I would love to introduce Summer Sasser. Summer, if you come up. Summer and I met at the U.S. Veterans Coordination.
Together with veterans.
Together with Veterans. It meets quarterly at ASU Mountain Home, and she's phenomenal. So Summer, if you'd be so kind to address the group.
Hi, I have my handy dandy notebook because I am a little bit nervous. So. Thank you guys for letting us come and speak about something that is not very easy to speak about. I really do appreciate you guys taking your time to listen. Suicide prevention and awareness is something that sits really, really close with me. As the anniversary of my fiance and children to my father come up on June 26th of 2018, I can personally tell you that that was a devastating experience, and it was very traumatic, had a very traumatic impact on me and my family. And 7 years later, we're still trying to recover from this. So how can we fix it? How can we make a difference? How can we stop another person from feeling like they're not worthy of being here? We have pulled together, like she said, some organizations. We have, I'm shaking, I'm sorry. We have the Baxter Health Foundation on board. We have the Veterans community on board, and we would love to have you guys on board to help us. We believe you guys have a strong impact on the community, and so we're putting together a 5K for a fundraiser to help fund Project Renew, which is going to be on September 11th. So what we're looking for is time and talent and treasure. We need support, volunteers, we need people participating, runners, if there's any runners, or people who have hosted a 5K or done a fundraiser, let me know, give me some tips, tricks, anything.
Keep going.
Donations obviously is a huge part, sponsorships is what we're looking for to help fund this, and if these funds could go to help someone, just one person, I would be okay with that.
So Summer came to me and she's very passionate about this particular issue. Baxter County is #1 in the state, or has been #1 in the state in suicide. State of Arkansas is #8 in the nation in suicide. We're literally leading the nation in killing ourselves. Not only at the youth level, but at the veterans level. That's why we've partnered up with the veterans groups. That's why we partnered up with the hospital, because they see the impact of this. ASU is working with us on a route for the 5K. What we're looking for with the schools is another hand in partnership. It might be helpful if we had like a Kathy Beckham that can help us with getting some of the kids that need to be involved in this as part of their graduation requirements and volunteerism. You know, Coach Mitch, we've already visited a little bit about what the track team, the materials that they might have to help us out. But as the leadership of the school district, if this is an issue for you, and you make it an issue district-wide, then I think we can really hit a lick in helping people not experience what Summer had to go through. Do y'all have any questions?
Thank you for sharing,
Thank you.
and we're here to serve, so
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Project Renew.
Yes.
Okay.
You
I
want
don't have
to-
a whole lot of information.
No,
No.
it's okay, you know what you do have.
So Project Renew is gonna be here on September 11th. This is what the funds are going to be going towards, and I really don't have.
No, it's okay. Jamie Leach, with
Yeah.
Behavioral Health Unit is helping to set this up. There's a speaker who's gonna be coming and doing a presentation to the 6th and 8th graders.
6 through 12.
Yeah, and then
That's
yes,
coming up.
ma'am, then the 9th through 12th graders. And there's, I understand it's gonna be an evening presentation as well, but I don't have any information on that.
You may have a little bit. Mr. Sutton?
Oh, great, thank you. Great, thank you. Teamwork.
It is September 11th. I think we're going to split our students up into two groups. We spoke of this like when we just learned about it. I came and got to talk about it just a little bit. We've got a lot more information now though. So two groups of students and then a community. So she's speaking 3 times, community in that afternoon. We have already established a team of students and already started that process because part of that is they want students to lead this kind of charge for us and not adults. So we've got 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade representatives already. They're going to be positioning themselves, that team, after some training early in the school year. They'll be at like Bomber Fest with a booth. They'll be at some activities. I think we've got 4 activities that they're going to be at to just provide resources and to just be able to talk to any kids, because kids want to talk to kids more than they do adults most of the time. So that part's really cool as well. They're also bringing all kinds of literature, a lot of posters that we get to put on our campuses, and just give away stuff just to get the discussion going, which is what we talked about when you initially brought it up. So some really cool stuff happening with Jamie's phenomenal with Baxter. So.
And do you have a date for the 5K?
Yes, it's gonna be September 13th.
13th,
I've
okay.
already organized with the city and got approval for starting at McCabe Park. It's gonna go through ASU and then it will finish again at McCabe Park.
Okay, good. So we can get that info out.
Thank
What
you.
else do you see we can do in the schools? I mean, what do we need to be projecting in the schools? Because this has hit, several of us
Yes.
have had some experience.
I think, so, I wish I would have known what to say whenever someone was struggling. I think if we had someone come into the schools and maybe tell kids like, hey, this is what you should say if one of your friends are struggling. I think that's a huge part. It's just knowing what to say, not just dismiss it and say, oh, you're just wanting attention, or, I think knowing what to say to someone who is struggling is a huge part.
So would there be a way to train our mentors? Our high school, every class has a mentor. If they could be trained and there was a particular month, probably September, that we focused on, hey, here's what you say.
I think
Because
that would be
we're all
nice.
in the classroom. Do we have time to kind of get that? You think we have time to work with Miss Christy Lawrence and possibly, even if there was a Zoom training, something? Because the mentors are always looking for something, an engaging way. You've got to engage students. But this is so personal, I think.
Now, the first mentor session is usually in September,
Mhm.
right? So
And
it's
that,
that
what a
first
great way to
Wednesday in
kick
September,
off.
so-
It's a big year.
Yeah.
And everyone's focused on the same topic, which is a valuable topic.
Mm.
So, Matt, maybe we could coordinate.
And she's so spot on. Obviously, what Keontae's bringing with project, with what she's bringing is talk saves lives, and this is the premise for what she's going to be talking to our students about. So it's a perfect kind of month to focus on. We've got like this large group focus that she's going to be speaking, and then you've got the mentors, which is small group, more intimate setting, which what we have found has been more successful with bringing change to our kids in
Absolutely.
those small group settings like that. So I love the idea. I think it's great. And I think it's easily implemented. So
Talking is the best thing.
Talking.
It's a taboo topic.
It is.
A lot of us feel like we can't talk about it. And just from my experience with some veterans and talking to them and being involved with them, it's just talking and not make it a taboo topic. and sometimes coming right out and even asking people, the peers, are you considering hurting yourself? Are you thinking about hurting yourself? Can make it make a 180-degree difference, right? At their last Get Over with Veterans, they were talking about part of it, the first thing, and then we had somebody there who's attempted several times. The first thing they think about is, can I get away with it, right? And so by even talking to somebody, asking them, you kind of remove that avenue. So Mr. Sutton's far easily the SME on this, a subject matter expert, not me, but just removing a stigma and talking about it and having peers that know to talk about it and mentors and teachers, that alone seems like it's half the battle, is talking about it.
So what
and
steps
building
can we
awareness.
take on the mentoring?
Matt and I'll visit. I think
Okay.
it'll be
Sure.
training.
Okay.
We can, this is
Get that,
not
I mean,
the
that's an
office.
easy, and I think it will be embraced
Mhm.
You
by
bet.
all the mentors,
Yeah.
I
We can do
really
that.
do.
Yeah.
And it also gives us a chance to ask follow-up questions throughout the year,
Sure.
Yeah.
Make some connections
which would be
there.
good. Mhm.
So what I'm hearing is we have a lot of resources in the community that are willing to help us. Also, the community's asking for the district's help as well. So it seems like a fantastic partnership, one that I could see no reason why we shouldn't fully embrace both ways, them helping us and us helping them. As you've heard me talk before, suicide is far more likely, a far larger threat to our students than any mass shooting or violence on campus. So it's something that we really, really need to embrace and talk about. So thank y'all.
Thank you all for
Thank
sharing.
you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our reports. Our academic report, Ms. Lawrence.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm excited to talk a little bit about some academic results we have. We are about to have a windfall of summative data. We think mid-July, hopeful. We are told definitely by August, I think August 1st. So that has not, we don't have all the summative data yet. So I wanted to present what we do have for some of our K2. All of our K2 students participated in middle of the year and end of the year DIBELS. I did make a slide that just lets you go through the different components of DIBELS. We have done DIBELS, it seems like forever. It has been a tried and true indicator of how our students are reading. We used to do DIBELS K6, if you remember, if you've been around for a little while. Because of all the new things with Atlas, we reduced that down to K2 this year. And another reason we have stuck with DIBELS at that level is because their Atlas pieces have been a little slower to come to us. It's been a little bumpier road, I would say, for K2 than it was for our 310 teachers and students participating in Atlas. So this one, our teachers feel very confident when we give this that it's giving them some good information. We have letter naming fluency, phoneme segmentation fluency, nonsense word reading, oral reading, and maze. So if you haven't ever given this, it's pretty fun actually. You just take the students through these very quick assessments. At the end, it pulls it together and gives you a composite score, which you can break down into categories or you can use the composite. So our next slide just gives you a really quick synopsis. Measures of the acquisition of literacy skills, short 1-minute fluency measures of skills. They read a passage until the timer goes off at a minute, and then they record how many words per minute they've read. And we do use DIBELS a lot of different ways, but the number one way is to detect risk. And also just to see how many words a minute they're able to read and how fluency and then the accuracy. There's a lot of research behind how many words per minute and how much accuracy a student needs to have at certain points in time to truly be a reader that can comprehend the text that's in front of him or her. So this is, I know it's a little hard to see, but if y'all are looking at your own slide, I did put just the snapshot. This is K2, and what's weird about it this year is you're not going to see beginning of the year. You're going to go straight to middle of the year, the MOI is middle of the year, the EOI is the end of year, and the reason for this is because we were told we were going to have an Atlas interim that we would get right after the universal screener. So we held off on DIBELS because we didn't want to over-test our students. Well, the interim did not come. Our teachers were, I don't want to say panicking, but they were just wanting some hardcore data. So what we did is once we realized we were not going to get the interim, we went ahead and got the license for DIBELS, and they were able to do a middle of the year assessment and then an end-of-year assessment. So typically you would have 3 measures, and this year we only have 2. What you'll see if you want to look at the green and blue combinations, that's where the green and blue combine tell you the students that are on grade level or above. For kindergarten, at the middle of the year, there were 74% of our students were on grade level or above. At the end of the year, we had 77%. First grade started middle of the year with 48% on grade level or above and ended at 60%. And then our second grade did have a little dip. They started at 58% and then they dipped down to 54% at the end of the year. When I dug into the different pieces of this, they had one test that's called MAZE, and it's a reading comprehension piece, and that they had a lot of red in that category, and it brought their overall composite color down. That test is a little bit hard for our younger students to take. I could tell you all about it, but anyway, that's probably enough for now. But we did check into why, so we have some strategies. Some highlights first before I give strategies. I wanted you to see that kindergarten, again, 77% are at or above grade level, which was 189 students. They did increase that 3% for middle of the year. First grade increased the at or above grade level from 48 to 60, and they decreased the below grade level, the reds, by 6%. That is a big, that's a really good indicator, moving the students out of the red. And then again, second grade was at 54%. They did decrease the below grade level category by 3%. So you're seeing a little bit of a swing out of the red, but we just have to we lost a couple of yellow. Okay, so moving on, I know this is a lot of information tonight about K2, but I do want you to see what our teachers are doing. I think it's important to kind of showcase some of the work. In addition to DIBELS, they were also doing what we call testlets, and this is all part of the new Atlas platform. And there's a link, that ELA testlet, Kelly's gonna click on that link for us. And I just wanna show you, in addition to DIBELS, what our teachers now, the workflow they're using. And I do wanna brag on Becca Camp. She has really helped our teachers with workflow for this, because the teachers are now, if the student is flagged in a screener for Atlas, in any of these categories, they are now giving what's called a testlet in that specific category. If the student scores 8 or above, they can move on. If they score less than 8, then they keep doing some intervention, and then they progress monitor again. And you can see it's pretty daunting if you're sliding across, Kelly.
Can you go back to
or roll down,
yeah,
either
so they
way.
can see.
You can see that
It's on the bottom.
it ends up being quite a bit for a teacher to take in and kind of decide, okay, how am I going to get my students through this? So Becca worked with our principals and our teachers. They kind of got a workflow going. They help teachers kind of work through how to give the testlets, when to give them, how many students at a time. There's a lot of strategy behind how to best assess the students with these testlets. So from there, Kelly, if you want to hop back out just to the slide, what you're going to see is an individualized reading plan. So from the testlets, now they have a plan, and these are populated now in the Atlas portal. And so a parent can have access to this, teachers have access to this, and this is becoming basically kind of an RTI, response to intervention plan, and they call it an individualized reading plan. So any student that shows risk has an individualized reading plan. And I did a screenshot. I didn't do links. I wanted to protect our students' identities. But you'll see this student had a risk factor, and you'll see the teacher. You can see her name on there. Wonderful second grade teacher we have with this. She worked through progress monitoring and testlets until the student scored high enough to exit out of the deficit. So I thought y'all might enjoy seeing kind of the working process behind some of the data that we're getting and what the teachers are doing with the students, either one-on-one or in small groups, to help with where the needs are. So this is just one piece of it. It goes alongside DIBELS, it goes alongside their common formative assessments they're giving, and it's just to help us see how our students are doing in grade level skills. I think our next slide, this is just to show you a data wall. I know we've done data walls for you guys in the past, but this is a sample of a kindergarten data wall. What you'll see is the IRP out to the side means those students in this class had an individualized reading plan. and the teachers are able to monitor how they're doing on those categories. The next one is one from Nelson Wilkes. It looks like Legos. But they're monitoring each category, or accuracy. Lexia is another literacy piece. Their fluency, if they can retell the story, and you'll see all different colors. If they're showing red on any of these indicators, they are receiving an intervention in that category. And they'll be progress monitored. So this is what our teams are doing, our collaborative teams. They're working together, looking at this data together typically when they meet weekly. And then the principals are deep into this work with them as well, just to see how the students are showing progress. I think next, what we're doing next, we are doing transition meetings. Y'all know the way we're set up, the handoff from grade to grade is a little bit tricky because typically they're leaving a building. We've had a lot of meetings, principal to principal. We told y'all last time, I think, that Ms. Kincaid and Ms. Hamilton have spent time in the kindergarten. Ms. Goodwin and her team have spent time at Nelson Wilkes. We're trying to get that handoff a little bit smoother in our lower grades. The littles obviously struggle a little bit more than our mid-level kids and above when we're transitioning. Our student success plans, that's where we're taking that information from those data walls, looking at that student by student, doing their RTIs. The HIT grant, if y'all remember, we received, for the last 2 years, we received HIT grants, high impact tutoring. We're waiting to hear if we get that again next year, but we have been running programs all year using the HIT grant money, and we will do that again if we are granted more money for that. The IRPs is what I just showed you. And then another thing we have realized is, and it goes along with our new technology plan, but our students need to be reading books more. I know that sounds very simple, but we need to get them in text more and not just excerpts of things. For older kids, they need to be reading full stories, beginning, middle, end. So we're talking about that a lot in collaborative teams. So those are just a few things going on behind the scenes once we get the data on our students. Switching gears here a little bit, we had credit recovery going on at the high school, grades 9 through 12. 52 students did participate in credit recovery coursework through APEX. And 2 days ago, which is maybe different, Ms. Russell's here, we have 51 semesters of credit recovered. And that was as of Tuesday. So making up some ground there. And in our last slide, I know y'all are sad we're done with the data part of the night, but we are showcasing a little bit of summer enrichment. So our summer enrichment program has been going on every Wednesday, 8 to 11, K5, and they are having a blast. They are doing a tech-free, full literacy immersion, arts, crafts, hands-on learning. We've done volcanoes, they've baked cookies, lots of writing, they'll read a story and they'll do some kind of hands-on activity after the story. That's Miss Muller. If y'all know Miss Muller, you know she's gonna use music to teach everything and anything. And so she actually has kindergarten. And so it's been fun to go in her class. She's had the students using instruments with stories, using instruments to tell stories and to go along with text. So it's been really fun to see what they're doing. We have a fun trip planned. I'll shout out to Mr. Gage right now, but they are going to be going to the airport on their last Wednesday, and they have he has stations planned. They're going to get to see an airplane. It's going to be super full. So really doing some fun hands-on learning this summer with summer enrichment.
I just have one question.
Okay,
Going back to like your K2 with your individualized reading plans
Yes.
and your testlets, what do those look like for
So
the
they're
kids that are
short.
at or above?
So
What does the enrichment side look like of that?
if they are needing enrichment, they are not going to get it through a testlet.
Okay.
Testlets are going to be really targeting on grade level or below skills. So when you see like that Nelson Wilkes data wall that has all the blue,
Mm-hmm.
so that work is happening. Those teachers are finding ways to do extension that aren't necessarily through a testlet. So,
Okay.
and they do that through their intervention, their what I need time. So they are measuring, again, when we're looking at blue's hard to grow. Those kids typically are a little bit harder to move. And so they are looking at extended text, harder text, trying to more words a minute, different things like that. And so that's one reason these classroom data walls are important, because if we did not do these, you would get all that data on your individualized reading plans through the portal, for your deficits, but you would not have anything for your extension. So that's why we have really leaned heavy on these pieces like this, because you really need to see what your blue kids are doing.
Yeah.
If you have a student that starts blue and is dropping, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Just like it is if you have a student that's red and not growing.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the teamwork within collaborative teams is important, because sometimes you can share kids. You know, one teacher might be taking the students that need phonemic awareness.
Might grab
and
a
then
handful
another
that are
teacher
doing-
could be working on comprehension.
Well,
But you have to be following the pieces like this, or you're not gonna know how the students are doing. And kindergarten they have a lot of extension opportunities too. Theirs isn't coded on blue on there. But that's kinda,
okay.
if that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's
But
perfect.
we have talked about that a lot with our student success plans. We talked about, could we just do IRPs and the math intervention plans that are populated in Atlas? And the reason we don't wanna go solely to that and give up our student success plans is because of your question. Because if we only use those, we are not watching those.
You're gonna get a handful that are gonna hit coast, and then
Yes.
they're gonna fall backwards.
And then you're not even gonna know at the end of the year that they have slid backwards.
Yeah.
So we're holding on to those. We've had a lot of debate about that actually, because we're always trying to see, can we make the teachers' jobs any less
It's
cumbersome?
not getting any easier.
Because, I mean, you can tell, I mean, the data entry piece is pretty
It's
intense.
insane, yeah.
And so, but we have stayed committed to that just for that reason, so. Any other questions?
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
Good job.
I'll see you again in a minute.
Next item is our financial reports. Ms. Cotter?
Good evening.
Good evening.
We'll start with the statement of changes in fund balance for the month ending May 31st of 2025. And we ended the month of May with $15,661,373.19. This is kind of just a dull month for school finance, just as June is, because we're trying to close out this year and wind things down. In June, you will see that we will make the transfer to cover the expenditures in 4,000, which was our debt service payment. And that's really about the biggest action. Any questions about that? Okay, moving on.
Thank you.
This is the statement of changes in revenue and expenditures for the month of May. We ended with total revenues of $4,143,394.41, with total expenditures of $3,942,812.75. Our revenues are down, and the county did let us know that some of their revenues that are typically booked in May were not going to be booked until June. So our revenues for June came in a little bit higher than normally for June. So moving on.
Is that why that we're seeing that little bit of a dip?
It is, our revenues are running lower, but that is the revenues for this month were down 1.3 million. So it was very concerning,
Yeah.
you know, when
It's
we saw
not that we're spending more, we just we've received less so far.
Right.
But,
And we do, our June tax collection is
yeah.
lower than expected and lower than we were hoping for. It's gonna be all right, but it definitely, they said late payment and just a little lower than expected.
Okay.
When we look at the operating fund balance for the month of May, we ended at
$9,338,334.47. And of course, you can see the impact of that, a reduction in those revenues from May.
Any questions?
Moving on to the statement of changes in activity funds, we ended the month of May with all activity funds combined of $654,318.61. And if there are no questions, the reports following support the information that I've just shared, as well as the check register for the month of May.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item is our enrollment report and student transfer update.
So enrollment is, as of this week, 3,733 students. That did not count our exiting seniors, nor our registered kindergartners. So you'll start to see those numbers next month. I will tell you that kindergarten is down significantly. The last phone call I made, we were at 200 students. I expect 20 to 25 more, hopefully. But if anybody's watching this live stream, or if any of you all know anybody that has yet to register for kindergarten,
Get your kid registered for
please,
kindergarten.
get them up there and get them signed up. You know, I'm not surprised by the number today. I'm surprised by the kindergarten number. I'm not surprised by the 3733.
How many in kindergarten last year?
200, I think they ended the year at 240. 240, I think the number is 247. So now they started low. They started about 220, I gotta be careful, 220s. So they were a little lower, so they did gain kids all year long. That's a good thing.
Student transfers.
2 in and 2 out.
Well, that's a wash.
Same district too.
Same district. We just traded.
Just traded.
Just traded 2.
Any other questions on that? Okay, moving on to our facilities report, Mr. Knight.
So your maintenance and custodial staff are extremely busy every summer, and I won't go through everything we have to do that we can barely finish anyway, but I wanted to give you all a list. I know some of these things you've approved, a lot of these things didn't cost enough that I had to bring them here or bid those out. So I wanted you to see just some of the other things that we're trying to do and get done with all the rest of the things we have to finish before school starts this year. You don't have any questions? I also updated your spreadsheet with the.
Thank you.
I know they're all out early getting stuff done.
They're out, they're working.
Yes, they
Can't
are.
keep up with grass, so you're seeing them earlier.
Yep. They're putting in the time, and it looks, the facilities look good, so.
The grass growing business is gonna slow down next week.
Good.
Needs to slow down.
Bathrooms. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Technology report, Mr. Mendelewski. Hello.
Some of the updates from last time, tech committee, we haven't had a tech committee meeting since the last time there was an update. But the screen time policies that were talked about at the last meeting are going into the handbooks for next year. And then AI policies and usage and stuff we'll talk about next year in tech committee and come up with some ideas for that as far as what we need to do and what kind of a path we want to move forward on. We were at a conference this week, so we had a lot of sessions on AI. Everything is cybersecurity and AI right now. So we got some really good ideas. That stuff is changing a lot also. Google's product, AI product, Gemini, wasn't available to schools that are on the free Google plan, like most of them are. And Tuesday they released that and gave that option to all the schools, even if they're on the free plan. So there's still a paid option within that, but none of it was available unless you were paying for Google. So that was kind of nice because that's integrated into everything that we're doing already. So that was some good news on that. So as far as tech department stuff, we're changing Pinkston, the way Chromebooks are handled there next year. Since COVID, the students have been carrying those Chromebooks around and then putting them in a cart at the end of the day. And we're going back to carts in the classroom. They won't carry them anymore. So we're hoping that's going to cut down on repairs and help with screen time stuff also. If the teacher has something they need the Chromebook for, then they will just get it out of the cart like they used to back in the day. So we'll see how that works. And then we may roll that to Hackler next year, kind of go back to the same thing. It takes a lot more Chromebooks to do that when you go that route, because you put the state maximum number of students a classroom can have. You put that many Chromebooks in every classroom. So you might have 20 students in a classroom one period, but there's 28 Chromebooks in there. And so if the next period has 28, you know, so it takes a little bit extra to do that, but we're able to pull that off without buying any extra this year. So I think it's going to work out good. We'll see what happens there. So we're still working on phones in all the classrooms. It's kind of been a 3-year project, but we're almost done. So we've got a few more left at Pinkston, and junior high's done. We finished that last week. So it's a nice option to have those in the classroom. Teachers can call parents, and eventually, if like the intercom system goes out at a building, we just roll that into the phones. So the phones are now intercom, bell system, everything. So we're gearing up for that at some of those other buildings too. So the camera projects we've been doing, Pinkston and junior high, 95% complete. Should be done probably by the end of next week. Had a few parts that had to get sent back and replaced and stuff, but so that's looking good. We made a decision to proceed with a managed endpoint detection. We'll talk about that in a little bit on the action item, but that's been a big project for several years that we decided to finally move forward on. So as I mentioned before, we were at conference all week, so lots of good stuff there. We kind of go to one conference a year, and we try to all go as a department, and so a lot of good team building stuff and learning about what's going on and talking to other schools and stuff. So it's a good conference in Hot Springs. So I think Becca's got all the instructional technology PDs scheduled for July 23rd. We're going to use the junior high library for that this year. And then setting up dates to meet with each building at back to school PD and talk about screen time for their building, and just different things that are building specific that we need to meet with those buildings on. So that's about it.
Great, thank you for sharing. Why don't you hang out? We'll move on to board action items. Request to approve managed endpoint detection system.
So managed endpoint detection and response. I don't like to use the phrase that it's the new antivirus, but that's the easiest way to kind of describe it. It's way more than that, and viruses, I mean, that's kind of a thing of the past. Everything is either malware detection or ransomware type detection. So we've been working on this for 4 years. We've tested multiple products. We've got pricing on different products, and we always kind of come back to the one product called CrowdStrike. It's probably one of the best products out there. It's in the top 3, but it's the least expensive of those top 3, but it's still kind of on the higher tier. So the past couple of years, the state released Acts 846 and 504 that mandate districts utilize something like this as one of their layers of security. If there was a ransomware attack or a data breach of any kind, and you don't utilize a product, you know, to help protect yourself against these things, they can exclude you from state insurance money and state resources that are designed to come in and help a district. It's hard to put a number on what a ransomware attack can cost, but I mean, if you shoot at $1 million, that's probably what it's going to cost. Depending on how much data were to get leaked or stolen or ransomed, you've got recovery fees, recovery costs on that. You have to protect those people. And students is kind of a whole different thing. It's not just like a doctor's office that got breached and they do credit reporting on you, or they give you that credit reporting option for several years. This managed type system actually almost adds another 24-hour employee. There's a real person that looks at a viable threat that comes in no matter what time of the day it is. And with the software that runs on the computers, they can they can isolate that computer from the network immediately within seconds of anything they think might be a viable, attack. And the state of Arkansas uses the same software. DIS, all of the state police, they've got this on all of their computers. Schools can go under that umbrella. Our pricing is actually lower than what the state is getting it for, which is hard to believe because they've got about 10,000 endpoints on it. But they're about $5 an endpoint a month, and our quote is $3.99 per endpoint per month. So we're saving $8,000 to $10,000 by doing this ourselves and not going under the state umbrella. We've kind of been waiting the last couple years in anticipation that the state would put us under it without any additional cost, all the schools. And that might happen down the road, but we can't wait really any further to just see if that happens. So.
Are they funding it at all?
No, they're not.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Nothing.
So, I mean, and then it's kind of a double whammy because they don't fund it, and then if you don't do it, you're not included in the resources to help
The insurance to
help
fund
you,
it.
So CrowdStrike has kind of a insurance policy that can be up to $1 million of assistance and reimbursements if an attack happens. That's how much they trust, their own product. The state gets hits every day on this, on their 10,000 endpoints, and nothing so far has been breached. So it's not really, they always say it's not, if it happens, but when it happens. So I really feel that this is going to be a big layer to help protect our networks. We've got firewalls in place that have already stopped stuff. We've had staff members that have clicked on something and that firewall has stopped it. And, we run, it's a $50,000 firewall. So just to give you an idea of you might buy a really good one for your house for $200. This is $50 and we pay $15,000 a year in subscriptions. So it's really doing a good job. But putting this on all of our servers and all of our teacher devices and all of the secretaries and central office devices will really, hopefully we never have to go through.
One more layer of security.
Yeah, hopefully we never have to go through any kind of a ransomware type situation. And there's schools in Arkansas going through it right now. So, but anyway, so it's a 3-year contract. We'll pay it yearly. And I'm assuming we'll come back each year to have this approved instead of just approving the one amount right now. Because there is a chance that if the state picks it up,
we won't need it.
We wouldn't have to get it approved. So, so for the 25-26 school year, recommending the approval of $43,092. And then, of course, the 3-year total contract is $129,276. We'll just do it per year right now. So, software is kind of a preferred status type deal, like some of the other hardware we've talked about. One vendor picked it up, another vendor did bid on it. That other vendor was a late submission, and it was higher anyway. So, when we put them both on there, they were pretty close. But the state price on that is like $56,000 if we were to go under their umbrella. So,
Is the product the state has and the product that you're looking at the same?
it is the same.
Okay.
So it's the same managed response, full dashboard. If we were to go under the state, CrowdStrike would call the state and the state would call us. Right now, they're gonna call us directly
Okay.
if there's anything going on that they detect, so.
having worked for ASU Mountain Home when they had their computers broken into, we can't have enough protection on our computer
No.
systems. That was a nightmare.
I make a motion, we approve the managed endpoint detection as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Do one.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, so I can name, not even counting ASU, I can name at least 5 local businesses that have had ransomware attacks on it. This needs to be thought of essentially as another insurance policy. Y'all may remember, and I just pulled it up here, in 2022, Little Rock had a ransomware attack, and it cost the district nearly $692,000 all told by the time they paid the ransomware investigation software. So this is just it's another overhead without reimbursement, but you don't have a choice. It's a
Doesn't
additional insurance.
qualify for E-rate or anything?
Not right now. There's talk of E-rate for security subscriptions.
Mhm.
It's just not there yet, so.
So you said you've looked at it and tried a lot of these. Obviously, CrowdStrike last year had a massive failure that affected most of the country, banking, medical, airlines, got all the news, etc. So none of these are immune from issues. I'm assuming y'all, I mean, I don't know what the options are other than CrowdStrike. Y'all have weighed the pros and cons on, hey, CrowdStrike or not. I mean, we heard a lot of negative stuff about CrowdStrike at the time.
Right. Yeah, and you heard a lot about that one because they're so big,
Right.
and it did affect a lot of people. You don't always hear about some of the other products. I mean, Microsoft has a product. It's pretty low on the
Yeah.
list of options and reliability and stuff like that. There's, like I said, there's 2 that are more expensive. I mean, whether they're better or not, I mean, they claim to be better, but the options are pretty much all the same across the products.
Sure.
The managed real person detection is a big part of it. And not all of them have that.
And just understand, it's not without risk. When that CrowdStrike incident happened, if the computer had CrowdStrike monitoring it, they got the blue screen of death. I mean, that it took, it's like a $2 billion impact, that CrowdStrike failure, that CrowdStrike hacking. So we would see our computers go blue screen potentially in that same type of thing. So it's not without risk, but when you weigh the pros and cons, you pretty much, you have to buy the insurance policy.
It's like buying homeowners insurance.
You gotta do it.
You gotta do it.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thanks,
Thank
Steve.
you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is our Guy Barrier, Mr. Nye.
Alright, so we have been talking about this and working on it for months now. The bids have finally come in. We were approved by the state with our plans to go ahead and do those bids. I want to talk about the bids for a second. We did get 3, and you're going to notice that one of them is significantly lower, and I want to talk about the state funding and how that works. It's going to change some things. So when we put in the square feet on this roof with the state's tool, it came back that what they thought that project bill, $1.4 million. And with the way our funding works from them, we are funded, by the way, they have not funded us. I know that doesn't make sense. So we're approved to be funded, and they are awaiting the money from other schools to give it back and to fund us. So you may not get it. It's looking like you probably will get it. Anyway, we're funded for about half. So on that 1.4 million, they were going to give us a little over $700,000. Because the lowest bid came in at 665, they're going to reevaluate that number. So now you're going to get just around half at the 300 and something mark. So they take the lowest. Now on to the bids. Bidder number 1, Mrs. Dewey and I both called around to make sure that that number was real and that person was a very good company, and they really are. Everyone we've talked to said best person I've ever worked with. 100% recommend them. We called him twice. Our architect called him. Did you do the bid right? What did we miss out? He wants a job. He's in between jobs right now and he wants to work. So we'd like to start as soon as possible. So I feel like and he would still have to be bonded, just like we do anything over 50. So I am going to recommend to the board that we approve bidder number 1 at a cost of $665,000 to replace that roof.
Make a motion and accept your proposal.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion?
The cost, we do believe that the cost for the architect will
Will
also
be
be
included in the
included
reimbursable number.
in reimbursable
So
number.
your 665 will go up for his bill.
And then it'll be half,
But-
about half.
But
If
we're,
they give you the money.
we're still almost half price of what we were anticipating.
Yes.
Even our part, right?
Yep.
And for the new board members who weren't there and for the public, when we did our monthly meeting at Guy Berry, it happened to be a rainy day. And we all saw firsthand how many leaks are in that building and how much water's coming in. So when you ever hear that discussion about maintaining our properties, et cetera, like, this is a no-brainer. It has to be done, or else we're just gonna give away that property essentially to the elements. So it's, there was water coming in everywhere. We had Mountain Home Observer there seeing it, taking pictures as well. So there's a high need for getting that roof replaced. So, I mean, just everywhere where we went, there's just water flowing into the inside of the building and classrooms.
Is this just on the old part of the building?
It's the whole thing.
Okay, gym and everything?
Yeah, so what makes this one hard is that there's actually 3 different roofs on that. So you're gonna have shingle, you're gonna have the metal on the sides, and then the tops are TPO. So it's that's why the architect price ended up costing more than junior high did, is because all of those parts had to be drawn up and sent out.
And they're staying 3 different types. We're not able to make it all one type of roofing, is that correct?
We
Like a
could've
big
gotten
top?
rid of the shingles if you wanted to.
I mean, it would look better. It would be, it would function better. Can we do that? Make the roof one cohesive look instead of 3 different types.
The one's flat. Can't
Ah,
put shingles on
that's
flat.
right.
Do the shingles.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, I had
That's
asked
right.
if we could do the whole thing in TPO, and it looked terrible.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
if there was one that you wanted to change, I would say you could change the shingles to metal, assuming that it would hold it up structurally. We'd have to go back.
With architect.
Mm.
I'm not hung up on that. It's just, we
No,
need
I
to
just thought
replace
it'd
it.
be
We need
nice
something that
to
doesn't
make
leak.
everything
Sure.
cohesive, but I forgot about the flat.
They tried that with the big top.
Yeah, no, trust me. No.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Unanimous? Thanks, Chris. Next action item is our student handbooks. Ms. Lawrence?
I'm gonna have 2 friends come up here. Steve and Chad, and Bob, 3 friends, so I'm not just I have some handbook helpers.
Handbook helpers.
Handbook helpers?
Handbook
Yeah.
helpers.
Our reps from the building. Handbook revisions occur annually in order to update procedures and reflect any district changes in policy. Revisions are based on policies which have been presented and adopted by the school board. Procedures are revised based on committee discussion and decisions, and this is the 3rd read of the handbooks. To provide updated information to stakeholders concerning policies and procedural changes or revisions to district handbook procedures is our rationale, and our recommendation is to approve the 25-26 handbooks as presented. I did want to note 3 quick things. And we did email this out, but just in case you missed the email, I would like to know that in the K-5 handbook, page 36, they did divide for discipline policies. They have headings. They have a K2 heading, and then they have added a 3-5 grouping that is a little more specific for grades 3 through 5. There's some rationale behind that. That'll be their 4th year in school with our school policies and procedures, and so they're adding a little bit of specific language to the 3-5 section. I have representatives here if you have any questions about that. Any questions before I go on to the next two? on the K-5? Okay, so for the Mountain Home High School, and Mountain Home Junior High handbook, we did add an addendum on page 31 regarding valedictorian and salutatorian. And you'll see an insert there giving a little bit of a parameter for 5 semesters with Mountain Home Public Schools to receive that local designation. We had a committee meeting, we had students in the meeting, Miss Molly was in the meeting, Steve, Miss Russell, it was a joint decision that because that's a local distinction, to have a little bit of a guideline around length of time to be part of Mountain Home Public Schools. And then we added on page 32, in the early graduation paragraph, there was a section in there that said they were not allowed to participate in internships, and the committee wanted to add language that they can be allowed with administrative approval to participate in an internship, because we feel like that is in line with trying to get our students work ready. Even if they're graduating early, they shouldn't necessarily have to give up that opportunity to be plugged into the community. So that was added. And then the last thing is we made a revision on page 55. It's regarding in-school suspension, and it's line 8. And there was a strike through. Students that receive in-school suspension are not allowed to participate in extracurricular activities. End. Period. On that day. And that will be in line with the athletic handbook as well. So just kind of wanted to make note of those things because those were added since the last board meeting. So, and I do have my lovely crew here if y'all have questions, concerns.
I make a motion, we approve the 25-26 student handbooks as presented.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
I do want to make everyone aware about the valedictorian, salutatorian, class ranking. Talk about an educational experience. And it's something we really need to pay attention to. Unintended consequences due to the voucher system. Because of the way homeschool grading is calculated, private schools, it affects our students, and it's students that had goals, that had passions, that have taken the hardest classes, that have taken additional classes. And so when you have other students move in, it really took me a minute to wrap my brains around it, but you do the math, and numbers don't lie. It can change class rankings, and we can't impact class rankings. And so homeschool students can move in with credits, but no grades, and they jump ahead of our students who have grades. And that is very disappointing and disheartening, and frankly, it's not very encouraging. So it's something that we really need to pay attention to. Here's something that was encouraging when we were sitting in that meeting, and y'all all know who Lucas Harden is, and bless him that he will answer emails quickly, the Arkansas School Board Association attorney. And so we were emailing back and forth, can we do this, can we do this, can we do this? And these students that were on the committee, they paid attention, they listened, and I encouraged them to email our state legislatures. And I truly believe they did. I didn't follow up and ask them, but they asked for email addresses, and they're making their voices heard. So yay, there's a civics lesson that you wouldn't get, but we all need to be paying attention, and we may need to be emailing our state senator and our Stetson Painter and Scott Flippo, and let them know we've got kids that are working hard and teachers that are putting rigorous work in front of them. And we need to we need to stand up for our kids. It's a big deal.
You don't want your students to take less classes.
You don't want your students pulling classes off their transcript. And that could possibly start happening. It's a big deal.
A lot of work goes into these, so thank y'all for everybody involved on these handbook committees. Thank y'all for all that work. please, when we hand these things out, make it emphasize to the students and to the families that these are an extension of policy. It's easy to take that thing and throw it off to the side. I'll get to it later, but it has to be complied with. One of the biggest complaints, if I wind up hearing complaints, it's like it addresses bullying and, hey, well, why wasn't this happen, et cetera. Well, we address bullying very, very well in all of these handbooks, et cetera. And we're gonna follow those handbooks, right? So parents need to be aware that is school policy.
There
We're
doesn't
following
need to be
them.
an exception.
Correct, right?
Oh,
So-
that's what it is. That's what it
Exactly, and that goes for the K through 12, all these different handbooks. Like, it is school policy, it's not a suggestions manual.
Well, a shout out to our assistant principals, because they carry a huge weight with carrying out the policy.
Mhm.
They do a lot of the rough work around it, so that's one reason we're so happy they serve on this committee, because they can represent what needs to change or what needs to stay the same, so.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank
Thank
you all.
y'all.
Thank you all for the work.
Still? It's my last name. No, it's just, where's
It's the
this?
Judy show.
Okay, this is regarding our math materials, our purchase for grades K-7, iReady Math, and, we had our curriculum committee review and make recommendations with respect to textbooks and other instructional materials. And our rationale is the selection of high-quality instructional materials is essential in providing instruction in mathematics for all students. After months of research and committee meetings, and this is not a mistake, this is the correct year, 2023, 2024, that was our math adoption year. It was decided that the iReady grades K-7, including Guiberia grades 6 through 8, will provide for the need of HQIM in our mathematics classrooms. These resources will also create alignment of grade levels and subject area classrooms. The cost of these materials will be split accordingly between operational and federal funds. And the recommendation is that the Mountain Home Public School Board of Education approve the adoption of the iReady for K-7, including Guiberia, for $149,864.65. And the reason we can use some federal funds on that is because we are able to fund supplemental. It's my path is a digital piece of iReady Math, so that's why we're able to combine those funds in this payment. And this is one we pay every year. That's why it says 23-24, because that was the year we did the adoption. So just to clarify.
Heard the recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I so move.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thanks, Judy.
Thank you.
Next item. Budget adjustments.
How, did we just do that?
All these numbers.
I did make a note by this subject that we have some pending additional allocation updates. So as I go through this with you tonight, if you feel so moved to adjust the recommendation to approve these budget amendments and any of the ones that we are anticipating that are coming in next week, because we will need to make those adjustments by June 30th for some of our state reporting.
So we could have another meeting,
We're meeting next week, aren't we?
we may not have the adjustments by then.
They couldn't guarantee the date they were
They
done.
can't guarantee the date.
So that's totally at the board's pleasure. But tonight I have some adjustments for special education funds, and they are as presented.
Heard the recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the 24-25 budget adjustments as presented.
Means we gotta do it again.
Second.
A motion and discussion. A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thanks, Leah.
Thank you.
This you're gonna stick around for a little bit here.
Just for a minute.
Thank you.
Next, we have the federal programs assurances with the GEPA statement. With the Every Student Succeeds Act of 2015 and the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or we often refer to it as IDEA, in Section 427 of the General Education Provision Act, and that's what we're referring to when I say the GEPA statement, requires the U.S. Department of Education grantees to describe the steps the grantee will take to ensure equitable access to and participation in federally assisted program by addressing the special needs of students, teachers, and other program beneficiaries. So attached, you have a list, several pages of assurances for the federal funds that we receive. Those boxes will have an X by them, and then if they are funds that we do not receive, then we put an NA in the box so you could tell which ones you needed to be looking at. Then, in the last pages of the document, we have the GEPA statement, and we worked with Ms. Benton to identify IDEA eligible as our area that we're focusing on, and we utilized the 23-24 SE Annual Performance Report to obtain our data, and we are focusing on the graduation rate for our students with IEPs. And then there's in the box, it briefly describes our plans to improve our graduation rate among our students with IEPs. So in order for a district to receive their federal funds, we have to bring this before the board for approval. And upon your approval, we need the signature of the superintendent and the president of the board in order to submit to the state so that we can receive our federal funding.
I'll make a motion, we approve the document as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
So this is something we do every year, right?
Yes, sir.
Are these assurances, are there any notable changes from previous years? They're basically the same, right? I see that, obviously the GEPA statement's a little bit different, but without going back and looking at them side by side, it's a pretty
The
standard.
GEPA statement is different, for
The
sure.
GEPA statement's different,
You'll
but
see
the
that-
assurances are pretty much the same year to year. Is that correct?
Interestingly enough, though, some of the ones that we don't receive are the ones that I have heard are in question.
Okay.
So when you see the NA for, I think migrant, I don't know where that was, title.
Yeah, I saw it here.
You saw it.
Yes.
That funding is questionable right now. I think title, anyway, I was listening to something the other day about federal funding
Title I,
and
Part
what
C.
schools needed to really think about.
Okay.
The good news is most of the ones that we're not getting are the ones they're talking about.
Okay.
The Title V Part B, I heard that one. That's rural, low-income schools.
Yeah. roll on,
Title
okay.
III is for our EL population, but we do not have
Enough.
the population to support us receiving those funds, so that's not a fund we're impacted by.
Okay.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thanks, Leah. And here we go again.
Yes, one more time. Each year, the district's financial records must be audited. The district engages the Legislative Joint Auditing Committee. It's a division of the legislative audit for this purpose, and the audit's designed to provide assurance that the district is receiving and expending funds in accordance with appropriate federal and state regulations. The audit report is an indication of the financial health of the district, and it's available to various governmental agencies, the general public, and any entities performing bond rating services. So attached, you have a copy of the legislative audit report for the year ending June 30th of 2024. Our auditors came a little bit later this year and stayed with us quite a while. Anyway, I would like to draw your attention to page 26 of the actual document, but I believe it might be
28.
28
on the
on,
PDF.
yes, on
28.
to reference the Schedule 4.
Right there.
And I'm happy to report that we had no findings in our audit this year.
Excellent.
Great work.
Thank you. I'd like to say that it is the work of our team, because
Good.
it's a big job and not one person can do it, and we work hard to try to do the right things every single day.
Thank you.
And this report is on our website. It's out there, or will be, once we approve it, for the public to look at. And yeah, to harp on it, no adverse findings for this year. So go take a look at it, folks. It's there.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Oh, I'll make a motion to approve the annual audit acceptance as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thanks, Leah.
Well done. Thank you.
Request to approve policy section 3 updates. Mr. Engel, CPPC, or I'm sorry, PPC.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Now, PPC brings 3 minor changes for your approval. The first 2, I think, are very good things for our teachers. Interesting about 3.6, model policy actually struck out where teachers can receive professional development credit for their graduate hours that they're accruing during that semester. So with some digging, we found a way that we can include those. So really, that's all that statement is, still granting our teachers the right to earn professional development for those hours. 3.8 is a change to our maximum sick leave payout from $6,000 to $7,500. Obviously, it's good for teachers, but it's also good for our students, as if teachers can dump more of those days heading into their retirement, they might, be at school more that year, or that year they're heading into retirement, which is obviously good for our students. And then 3.59 is just the now legally required anti-Semitism prohibited policy. So with that, I recommend the board approves these 3 changes to certified policy.
I make a motion to approve the PPC policy update as presented. Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? It's quiet. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thanks, Mr. Engel.
Thank you.
Moving on to our section 8 updates. Mr. Daly, CPPC.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My recommendation tonight is even shorter than Mr. Engel's. It's to section 8.5, the classified version of the employee sick leave. We have been striving to keep our policies aligned as much as possible to make it easier for the folks down the hall and make it equitable for everybody. So I ask that you approve the same change of the maximum sick leave payout from $6,000 to $7,500 per person. If you see fit.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thanks, Mr. Daly.
Thank you.
Last action item is our section 4 updates.
Okay, so revisions to policy are made annually to reflect new policies and procedures. Of course, the rules and procedures need to be reviewed. Section 4 is addressing our students. I recommend that the board approve the attached policies as presented.
I'll make a motion that we approve policy section 4 updates as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Could I point out just a couple
Yeah,
things?
that'd be fantastic.
I'd like for us, if you would look, you'll see that the majority of these policies coincide with the acts that were passed or created during the legislative session. There are no surprises here. They truly follow what happened in the legislative session, and so we followed suit. I do want you to look on I believe it would be the 3rd page. It is policy 4.45 and 4.45.1. If you approve the policies tonight, those two policies will be put into our student handbook for high school because they do have the graduation requirements that are updated slightly. Well, I won't even say slightly. SMART Core is now gone. Some of you remember SMART Core and Core. Students are now all on the same track. They just may get there a different direction with a student success plan. So that's included there. You'll also notice the free breakfast at 4.51 for all of our students. I got some information today about how to encourage our kids to eat that free breakfast. So the state is really wanting our children to take advantage of that because we know that full students learn better. So those are just some highlights I wanted to point out because this is a lot. But like I said, we did almost go completely ASBA recommended, and those did follow the things that did occur during the legislative sessions.
And families need to read 4.47, personal electronic devices in
Yes,
the
sir.
school. That's a new policy. Well, it may not be new, but it's all red, everything in it's.
Brand new.
It follows.
That means it's brand new.
It's brand new. It follows the legislative session, but it has impacts.
So that's completely started over.
Correct.
So you'll see that was completely rewritten
Correct.
because changing it was more than
Yep.
just starting over.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Booth, for bringing that up. Bell to bell, no sell. So we'll start pushing that out some more, reminding our folks. Ms. Crawford made a point when she got here tonight to say she had seen some schools were starting to remind parents of that already on Facebook.
And motion is second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Next item is constituent to address the board. Mr. Myers, thanks for coming out tonight. You've got a little share. We do want to remind you that it's a 5-minute window.
Oh, shouldn't be a problem.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank, can you all hear me?
Yep.
Thanks. I guess the constant tone is, please speak up. I hope the folks on the live stream can hear you. And I apologize that I'm hearing challenged, but I want to hear what you say, and I know the folks listening want to hear what you say. Allison, personally, thank you, and for that information you provided on the facilities planning going forward. Very worthwhile. Thank you for that. Let me interject this here. It may require a policy manual change, but rather than going through the current procedure to write about a specific topic and go through that, is it possible to have the school board look at merely putting a routine agenda item for public comments, constituent comments, brief 5-minute, whatever, if anybody wants to speak, rather than go through a lengthy, maybe month-long procedure. Only a thought for your consideration. Special thanks to Eddie Helmer, your securities chief. He took me around the school a couple weeks ago and showed me some areas at the high school I had not seen before. Very much appreciated, very professional on his part, and please thank him again for that effort. Another thank you, and I hope I'm not gushing, but some folks spoke earlier about mental health, and I would love to talk to Ms. Heiser about that. I know Scott's involved. I had a chance to visit with Matt and one of his colleagues. Took some time. We sat down, talked about the issue of bullying and the terrible consequences, both for those kids that are being bullied and for the kids that are doing the bullying. I'm assured that 90% of the counselor's time are going towards all the kids' needs. So that was heartwarming and well received on my part. Like I said, I'm just very pleased and want to wish the new elected officials, especially the board president and the new executives, a very successful tour of duty. And if there's anything the community can do, I know we have established committees, but I know the policy manual provides for special committees to draw in comments from the public on any variety of issues. So thanks, I appreciate it, and I look forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you for those positive comments. Moving on to board discussion. to his comment.
That was part
pretty
of my superintendent update.
Okay, well then I'll leave it alone.
I mean,
Go for it.
you can.
No, go for it.
Well, I'll just echo one thing real
Okay.
quick to what Mr. Myers had to say. I know the district welcomes people to come in and get involved, take a look, ask questions, and when folks do, you usually come away with a very positive outlook, positive view of, hey, what is actually going on, vice the hearsay that we hear online or rumors in the community. You know, it's one thing that I've done a lot since I've been here is ask questions, dig in. Hey, let me go talk to this person. Let's look at what's going on here, and it's nothing but positive every time you take a look. So. I won't speak for Ms. Dew, but I'm sure she would like, this district would like for the community to get involved and ask questions and take a look and form your own opinions on what's going on here in the district and the good work that we're doing here. So thank you, Mr. Myers, for taking that time to dig in a little bit and provide your comments.
Kind of spring off that, because I did see a podcast on Facebook and some false information was put out there. I want to encourage the community. We have a facilities page with everything going on with the new building. We are not hiding anything. We are not building a brand new high school. We are also addressing the big top while we look at where new classrooms need to go in our facilities at the high school. You know, I did not grow up very affluent. I did not grow up with a lot. But I could go to school every day and feel safe, secure. My building was clean. I didn't have to worry about anything. And school became my safe place. School was where I wanted to be. I want to see every student in Mountain Home Public School District have that same feeling. When they arrive at a school building, they don't have to worry about leaks. They don't have to worry about mold behind the walls. They don't have to have dreary, dark classrooms. They know teachers love them. They know administrators love them. When I was running for school board, I visited with a former school board member that I have great respect for. And this lady told me, there is not a decision you make without having the face of some child in your head. And so far, I've been able to come up with every decision we've made. I've been able to have a face. And let me tell you, it helps you make the right one. Now, that's just not for school board members. That's for the community at large as well. Everyone in this room was educated. Somewhere you got through 12th grade. I don't know beyond that. We owe the same thing to our future students. And it's not that we owe it. When I go to the hospital, I want to know that the people who are working on me are educated. When I go to the bank, I want to know that those people managing my money know what they're doing. That happens in schools, and for the most part, it happens in our public schools. So I challenge everyone watching us tonight, anyone who does anything, especially on social media, before you post, think about a child. Think about it. And if you want real facts, every one of our emails is posted on our website. Ms. Dewey has her door open more than any person I've ever seen. And when you see the number of tasks she has before her every day, and the fact you can walk in and talk to her and she'll offer you a cup of coffee as you sit down, take advantage of that. No one's trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. We're all in this together, and we need to respect each other. And, you know, if you have a difference of opinion, how great. That's a challenge. But bring up that difference of opinion in a respectful manner. Listen, talk, and then listen again. That's all I got.
Well said.
It's good stuff.
I need to keep
Anybody else?
I'll just, one last thing. I believe, you know, it was Senate Bill 90, SB 90, became an act. I don't remember the number, maybe 902. It's going to address constituents addressing the board.
Starts next month.
Starts next month. So yes, Mr. Myers, that is coming. So just to quickly address that.
I'll talk to the superintendent. Thank you, Scott.
Yes, sir.
So, I just want to say a special thank you to our maintenance and custodial They are working their tails off right now. They've got one less week than they're used to, and I know that we'll have our buildings shining and ready to go when those kids get here, even with one less week. It amazes me, the work. And I'm gonna tell you something, I'll be honest, I'm gonna be a little vulnerable right now. When I see some of those women doing some of the things they're doing, I think, I don't even know. I was watching them move some stuff the other day, and it's impressive. As you know, our teachers are also already working. They're already attending professional developments and planning for the next school year. So yes, there's a few weeks of slow, but they never stop. They're always thinking, always working, always planning. Anyone out there, just like I had mentioned, if you have a kindergartner, if you have a third grader, if you have a 10th grader, and you want to attend Mountain Home Public Schools, we can help you find a way to do so. But in particular, kindergartners, we need to get you registered. So just show up at the kindergarten building. Call before. Don't worry, nobody will be there, but those doors are open almost all the time. I want to talk about 2 different changes that have happened since the legislative session. This is pretty important. Our school board elections will only take place now on even years during the preferential primary. So that's March. So on March 3rd, 2026, we are going to have 3 seats up for re-election. So, Mr. Knight, that would be position 2. He is fulfilling a position that was had a year left. Ms. Horton, position 4, her position. And then Mr. Booth got the short end of the stick. His tenure will be cut short 1 year, so he will be that seat. Position 6 will be up for re-election as well. Petitions actually will start being circulated August 14th, is what I can tell, with my little bit of research today. And then petitions and filing will be November 3rd through November 11th, with the election March 3rd of 2026. So those dates are fast approaching.
Yeah, August what for the?
August 14th will be when you can pick up your petitions.
Okay, and file by?
November 3rd through the 11th. That is straight off the Secretary of State's website today.
Okay. I'll try to
Okay.
do it for you.
And I'll do a reminder, and we'll also do a link on our webpage with probably near the 1st of August, like we did last year with the tips for running for school board, and the important dates. We found some good information. Next month, there is a change in policy concerning public comment. That starts next month. There will be a sign-up sheet before the meeting begins. You do have to sign up before the meeting starts. That sheet will be in the lobby. Each person will have 3 minutes to speak, up to 3 minutes. There are some boundaries around that. They're pretty simple. You must be a constituent who actually lives in the district, or you're a parent or guardian of a student in the district, or you're an employee. Those are the 3 caveats. There are a few restrictions. We don't want folks, we're not supposed to be talking about any student discipline or employee hearing type information, anything that would be brought before the board concerning an employee or a student. So I said student discipline, but I mean student discipline that would be brought before the board. I've got one more thing.
No.
I want to run through a few dates. On Monday, June 23rd at 5:30, FOIA updates and training for those that can attend. It will be at the Quorum Court Chambers. At the courthouse, Mr. Roger Morgan will be leading that training. It is not a meeting or a work session, it is a training. We did go ahead and publicize that some of our folks will be attending, but it is not an official meeting. On Wednesday, June 25th at 5:30, here at Central Office Facilities Work Session. That will be live streamed, or please attend in person. And we'll be sending out some reminders, especially to our employees and to our junior high and senior high staff, making sure that they're part of this discussion. July 17th, regular meeting. And then I'll give you an early reminder, we're going to be meeting on August 7th for the August meeting. For policy, that meeting has to be held before the Thursday before the first day of school. And Mr. Ingalls, at August 12th? August 12th is your first day of school. So the meeting will be August 7th. That's a lot. I will send reminders of dates. We will publicize those dates. And that is all I have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. We'll go ahead and move into executive session for personnel, employment, retirements, and transfers.
Lawn dates.